Warning! Courage is contagious. Side effects of listening may include a sudden surge of motivation, bigger goals, bolder decisions, and an overwhelming desire to bust through your comfort zone. Welcome to Comfort to Courage, the podcast where brave conversations inspire fearless growth. And now, the bestower of Badassery herself, the real Jen Josie. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome back to Comfort to Courage, where people choose courage over comfort because courage is contagious. I'm Jen Josie, the bestower of Badassery, and every week I bring you real stories from people whose bold decisions changed the course of their lives. If you've been waiting for a sign to take that first step, consider this it. On today's episode, our guest, Angie Breaux, is sharing the story of surviving a traumatic injury that very few people survive, and what it took to relearn how to walk, talk, and simply live again. But before we begin, here's today's Badassery Bestowment, my little badass gift to you. Today's bestowment is about embracing rejection, turning a no into your next move. Here's a question I want you to sit with for a second. Think about the last time you put yourself out there. You sent the pitch, you made the ask, you applied for the thing and got a no. What did you do with it? Did you shake it off and keep going? Or did you go quiet for a while and tell yourself maybe it just wasn't meant to be? Most of us choose the quiet because rejection, even small rejection, has a way of getting really loud in your head. And the more we listen to that voice, the more we treat a no like it means something permanent to us. Here's what I want you to hear, fearless followers. It doesn't. The only permanent thing about rejection is what you decide to do next. Here are 5 ways to start embracing rejection instead of running from it. Number 1, separate the rejection from your worth. A no to your idea, your pitch, your offer is not a verdict on who you are. It's feedback on one thing at one moment from one person. The second you start treating it like a verdict, you've handed a stranger way more power over your future than ever deserved. Number 2, ask what it's actually telling you. Not every no is random. Sometimes it's pointing you toward a better offer, a clearer message, or a completely different audience. Get curious before you get defensive. Rejection is information, and information is something you can actually work with. Number 3, keep score of your attempts, not just your wins. If you're only counting the yeses, you're going to feel like you're failing most of the time. Start tracking how many times you've shown up or put yourself out there. Volume builds momentum, and momentum is what eventually tips a no into a yes. Number 4, let the sting be short. I'm not here to tell you that rejection doesn't have a sting, because it does. Give yourself permission to sit with it and then set a timer on it. 10 minutes, an hour, whatever you need. Just don't let one closed door convince you to stop knocking on the next one. Number 5, remember that every badass on this show has a rejection story. The guests you admire were told no plenty of times before their comfort to courage moment ever happened. The difference isn't that they avoided rejection, it's that they decided the no was part of the path, not the end of it. So my fearless followers, here's the badass bottom line. Rejection is not proof that you're not ready. It's proof that you're in the game. Every no you collect is evidence that you're showing up, that you're building something, that you are choosing to try. The people who never hear a no are the people who never ask. So keep asking. Rejection isn't the closed door, it's the hallway, and the only way out is to keep walking. And that's today's Badassery Bestowment.
Now it's time to dig a little deeper. Every guest on this show has one thing in common. They chose courage over comfort. Here's someone who dared to step outside of their comfort zone and discovered what was possible on the other side.
Today's guest is my dear friend, Angie Breaux, a real estate investor who built her business from scratch in Mississippi starting in 2019, expanded into 2 states, and by April 2022 was on the verge of closing a 120 home rental portfolio with 2 business partners. At the same time, she and her father had invested $200,000 into a medical marijuana growing facility. She was scaling into multiple income streams and well on her way to becoming the first millionaire in her family as a woman in one of the toughest business models out there in 2 of the poorest states in the country. And then in April 2022, a car accident left her internally decapitated. She lost her entire business while she was recovering. The 120 home portfolio closed without her. Years later, the cannabis company failed too. Here's what makes Angie uniquely worth listening to. While she was still in the hospital, still wheelchair and bedbound, she got on the phone and did a real estate deal. She has since had multiple complex surgeries on both arms and her right eye and was told she would never drive again, and just 2 months ago passed her driver's test and got her license. Angie is rebuilding her business, her platform, and her life at the same time, and she's here today because she believes her story can change someone else's. It's my absolute honor to have her on the show, so welcome, Angie Breaux. Hello, friend.
Thank you, Jen. It's an honor, and I appreciate you having me on your show today. It's a privilege to be here.
Absolutely. You look amazing. I am just so very impressed. And before we dig into your story, I want to give you the chance to tell people what you have going on right now. What are you rebuilding? Are you doing real estate? What's going on with your current journey?
My current journey is that I cannot believe what I'm doing now, but I had the courage to get back into the real estate investment space. So for the past 4 to 5 months, what I have been doing is reminding me of everything that I did in 2019. You know, I told my father, I said, Dad, I feel like I'm reliving 2019 all over again as I'm carrying around a pen and a notebook everywhere I go. And I'm having to do those beginning steps all over again. You're having to make the calls. You're going and looking at the properties. You know, you're constantly in Zoom calls, educational classes, things that you can do because so much has changed in the past 4 years, Jen.
Yes, absolutely. Girl, you were telling me. What about public speaking? Did I hear that you were considering getting into public speaking?
I would love to get into public speaking. I honestly feel like my story, what I really want to do is I want to help as many people as I can. I want to inspire, motivate, and encourage others. You know what? If I can do it, I promise you, if you dig deep enough, I promise you can as well.
Absolutely.
And I really want to touch as many souls as I can. There's nothing there's not a price tag that you can put on the gratification that you get knowing at the end of the day that you have actually helped someone. Just one person.
Yeah.
I can't imagine having, a conference full of folks or thousands of people. I can't imagine what that feeling would be like.
And there are so many listeners right now thinking, woe is me, I have all this going on. And then they're going to hear your story and think, ugh, I absolutely can do it. If Angie can do it, absolutely. Well, I first met you. I do want to tell the story. We were on a real estate, kind of a mastermind type thing. And we were in Cancun, Mexico, and we have, people that we listen to talking all day. And then we go and do these excursions. And you were a single woman at the time. You went to that by yourself, correct?
Correct.
Yes, which I was like, damn, girl, I love that she's out there doing this on her own because I don't think I ever would. And so there you were making the connections, doing the thing. And we were on this excursion. we went, you went mopeding, went on a moped ride with some young kid. I say young kid, he was like early 20s. And I think an iguana fell on you all as you were, is that true? You were riding the moped and like an iguana fell out of the tree? Is that true?
Jen, I think that was the story that he told people. Now that's ringing a bell. I think that is the story that he actually told people. But the actual story was, I don't recall. Now my memory is not the best, but I do not recall the iguana falling out of the tree.
Well, maybe that was his poor driving skills and was just completely mortified because you came back onto, I think we were on a boat or something, and you were bloodied up. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I knew you were by yourself. So I was over there. The people from the boat were like sewing up your wounds and everything. But I remember I was passing you shots. So I was like, she's going to be in a lot of pain. I'm like, here, hey, do you need another one? I'll go get you another one. And we were fast friends after that moment. So we stayed in touch. So now I want to go back to before April of 2022. So you were about to close on a 120 portfolio deal, and then you had just invested, and I didn't know this part, 200,000 into a cannabis facility, which, by the way, so cool. And I think it's a huge opportunity. So very, very smart thinking there. And you were well on your way to being the first millionaire in your family, not only a woman, not only in one of the poorest states in our country, but you're doing this all on your own. So what was life like back then?
Sure. I mean, I was working very late nights. I was a solopreneur. So there were a couple of times that I actually sent the wrong contracts to the wrong email addresses for the wrong purchase price, and all I could do, I mean, it had to be at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. So I waited until the next day, and I of course called the homeowner, and I sincerely apologize. I said, I'm so sorry. It was like a 16-hour. It was one of those 16-hour days yesterday. I said, so I sincerely apologize. Can I send you the correct contract this time for your home?
With that Southern twang, you can get away with a lot, young lady. So you have two business partners as well. Let's hear about that.
Sure. I had been in the business for several years, but I still had not purchased my first buy and hold. I did not want to start with one house or one duplex, but that is I think that's what everyone does or what you're supposed to do. Well, I had actually met my two partners at the very first real estate conference that I attended on the coast in the fall of 2019. I had actually kept in touch with them. They were great. They were great investors. They were great multifamily investors as well. They were very well rounded. But I had kept in touch with these people over the years, and I really liked it. Gave me time, Jen, to really kind of observe them from a distance. And I was very impressed from what I saw. And so an opportunity came along, and it was 2 hours away from me. And we started touring that property. I believe it was in January. And it was a total of 120 units. It consisted of duplexes, single family homes, and also small apartments. It was a wonderful opportunity for me. And like I said, we had been touring that property for about 4 months. Well, apparently God had other plans for me, because as of, April 3rd, 2022, no one could get in touch with me. And Jen, we've never done business together, but, it's not like me to not answer my phone. I mean,
Right, absolutely.
there's always a way to get in touch with me. So they knew something was wrong.
Well, let's go to that day in April of 2022. What happened? I've never heard this story. So I saw pictures of your car and I saw pictures of you afterwards. What were you driving? Someone hit you, you ran into someone, you fell asleep. What happened with the accident?
Interesting question, Jen, as we still do not know. I've never had a major accident. There are several things about that day that do not make sense. First of all, I was not driving my own vehicle, which was wonderful because that vehicle actually saved my life. I was driving a friend's vehicle, so we are always 10 times more careful when we're driving someone else's vehicle.
Right.
I did not have my phone, so I was not playing on my phone. And number three, I had left a bar, but my BAC levels that they ran in the ambulance, I was not drunk. But to answer your question, Jen, I have no idea what happened on that day. Nothing about that day makes sense, is all that I can tell you. I do not have any recollection about that day, and doctors and surgeons have informed me that are 99%, they are 99% sure that I will not.
Wow.
Whenever something traumatic happens, what our brain does, it's almost like our brain goes over, has a protective coat that it puts over our brain, and it goes into protective mode. And that is exactly what happened. So I had no idea what had been going on or what type of surgeries I'd been through for.
But the accident itself, Angie, was there another car involved? Did you run into something? What was it?
Well, I managed to take out a nice fence and also two trees. It was a single car accident, Jen.
Okay.
Thank goodness. No one
Wow.
else was injured. Yes.
And in that accident, you were what we call medically decapitated. Explain what that is.
Well, that is very interesting. Internal decapitation.
Oh, internal. I'm sorry, not medically.
That's
Internal
okay.
decapitated.
Well, the funny thing is, Jen, no one has, the term is so rare and you so rarely ever hear it that no one knows what internal decapitation truly is. And what it is basically everything is detached. Your head is detached. There are no bones that is actually holding everything together from your skull down to your cervical spine. I had tendons, the left tendons on my shoulder that were, keeping everything there.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, it was quite confusing to wake up to. I can tell you that much.
And those pictures they take your breath away. So you were in, I guess it's called a halo. For how long was that concoction thing on?
That was on for 3 months.
Oof.
3
And
months.
how long were you in a coma?
I was in a coma for 4 to 5 weeks. In the beginning, I went into a coma on my own. The second part, due to the complex surgeries that I had, I was in a self-induced coma.
Okay.
Excuse me, a medically induced coma.
Gotcha. And then you had an issue with your eye and then your arms as well?
Sure, they basically reattached both of my arms. My left arm was totally paralyzed for months. We did not know if it was ever going to come back. The damage that was done to my eye, that was actually done through the main surgery that I had with my neurosurgeon. I had 2 severe brain bleeds during that time. And due to the severe traumatic brain injury that I suffered, whenever the brain bleeds occurred, it is under my understanding, that is when I lost the peripheral vision in my right eye.
And they told you would never be able to drive. And you just got a driver's license, 2 months ago?
It was in May of 2026. Yes, ma'am.
Oh
So
my goodness.
I have been inside 4 walls for 4 years. I couldn't even drive and go get myself a Coke if I wanted to, let alone the things that, I wanted to do for others. And, I was a big part of my great nephew's life. And a lot of those visits got, cut down. It was just, Jen, there were so many changes that that I went through during this time.
I, I don't even know what to say in a situation like this, but while all of this was going on, those two business partners ended up closing on those 120 doors without you. Now, are you mad at them for doing that? Do you blame them? What's that relationship like?
No, of course not, Jen. That is business.
Okay.
I totally.
And I knew that about you already. I already knew that was going to be your answer because I know Angie. So yes.
No, that is business. There is no way. They actually ended up getting part of a seller finance deal, which was even better for them. They were just honest. But this is what I liked about these people. They were honest people. But they were just flat out honest with the owner, and they told him exactly what happened. So that is, no, I could not fault them for not going forward on that, as the rent had not been raised in 20 years.
Oh
Yes.
my, I love those deals actually.
Oh, yes.
Well, while you were in the hospital, you lost out on this business deal and you are leaning over a hospital sink and you're trying to brush your teeth for the first time in months. And at the same time, you get on your phone and you start doing a real estate deal. Most people, Angie, in your situation would say, I'm done. Like, I'm good. But no, this drive that you have, you kept it going. So tell us a little bit about that deal.
Well, what it was, I was still fresh in the real estate world. So I think that I bought a home from him, and he had bought one from me, and so we became, trustworthy, business deal partners. But no, he was trying to, I think he was getting rid of one more home, and it was at a price that I liked. So no, I literally woke up from a coma. My family waited, it was about a week after I woke up from the coma to give me my cell phone back. But as soon as I got it back, I mean, it started ringing, and you and I both know when that cell phone rings, you better answer it. So
Absolutely.
that was him on the other line. So yes, ma'am.
Oh my goodness. Well, the aftermath that so many people don't talk about, they, hear accident and moving forward, but you had some complex surgeries to try to restore movement. You had a long journey ahead of you after that. And that surgery, I don't think that was successful. And you ended up being in a body brace for 2 months. And what does that do to you? And how do you find that drive to keep going when you are faced with all of these challenges?
Jen, I'll be honest with you. I did not have the drive that I have today. This all changed for me in March of 2026. I had an investor donate a ticket to me. It was to attend Dealmaker in Virginia, which is a wonderful community. Jim Ingersoll decided to donate the ticket, and it was just, I had two investors that helped me get there, because I haven't produced income in 4 years. So I was very grateful and very blessed, that people reached out to help me. But no, that is when everything changed for me. I'll be honest with you, Jen, roughly the past 4 years they've been a black hole. I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy here, but to go through what I went through, and it's very hard for me to verbalize, because there's so much emotion behind it. I mean, you have to learn how to learn this new life again. And it's not much of a life. And I just wasn't satisfied with that. But did I give up, Jen? No, ma'am. I did not give up. I'm just
No.
very thankful that I do have some strong members of my work family that still honestly believe in me and are willing to take the time to mentor me and to push me. And I'm very blessed for those people to still have them in my life.
So what is next for you, Angie? The sky's the limit for you. What is next on your radar?
Next on my radar, I've learned that we have to take each day step by step, correct? But next on my radar, what I would like to accomplish before the end of the year is I would like to have 2 flips done, to purchase the homes and complete 2 flips. That is where my goals are. There are other goals down the line, but we have to focus on what's in front of us first. Let's get that first one done.
And what about speaking?
Speaking, that is something that I haven't really spent a lot of time. Excuse me, I have spent some time researching it, Jen. But it's just like every real estate conference that we used to go to. Everything sounds great and oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I knew what was coming, Jen. Like I knew what was coming. And towards the end, here comes, well, let's fly you down here. Let's get you down here. I'm like, okay, I'm there for $25,000. You get to spend 2 days and learn how to touch each and every individual by motivational speaking. And I'm thinking to myself, I think that you can keep that one.
I am part of a group, Angie, I should tell you about. It's called Mic Drop Club, and they do mic drop workshops, and they're virtual. They do have in-person meetings, but it is women run. And Jess Ekstrom, shout out to my girl Jess. In fact, there was a virtual call today, and you meet people from across the country, but it is such a safe zone for women to first start. And that's where I learned to put together my keynote. And it's very affordable. I think it's like $90 for the year to be part of these monthly calls. And then there's 4 in-person ones if they have one in your area. But if not, then they do a virtual. So it is a really, really great program. That is right up your alley. And girl, your story it needs to be told. And I am just so honored to call you friend. And in fact, y'all, I'm popping her podcast cherry today. This is your first podcast. So, which is a surprise to me because of your personality and everything that you've been through. So it is a true honor to have you here. So before we move to the next part of the podcast here, I like to give the listeners, my fearless followers, by the way, one specific action they can take away this week. So Angie, do you have a courage challenge for the listeners?
Jen, the one thing that I would tell people to do is you can have a small notebook. It doesn't need to be anything big, but get a small notebook and a pen and set it by your bed. Whenever you wake up in the morning, write down 3 things that you were grateful for. It didn't always work for me. And I just have to be honest with you. I mean, this has been a long 4-year journey, but for everyone else, I know that we're not always going to be wearing our best faces on 7 days a week. But let's write down 3 things that we're grateful for every single day. They can be very, very minute. It's not like it has to be some big golden thing. This is just for you guys. This is for no one else to see. This is just for you. But I would highly encourage that. And, start recognizing, gratitude and having gratitude, how important that truly is. And guys, I promise you, I'm not just telling you this. I'm living proof. If I can do it, you can do it too. I promise you.
Absolutely. And I actually do it on an app. It's called, I think, the Journal app. And you were one of my 3 this morning because I was so grateful that you were going to be on my podcast today, my rebranding of this. And I knew you just had such a special story to share. So Thank you. I love that courage challenge. So we are going to now move to the final part of the podcast, which is where we find out how Angie Breaux is an badass, and I use the acronym BADASS, and the first letter is B for book. What's one book that changed the way you think or live?
So the one book, what was funny about this is that I ordered the book, Jen, but I hadn't read it yet. And I had 3 people from different conferences all over the US ask me, "Are you quoting that from Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss?" And I'm like, "No, but I have that book." And then someone else told me about it. And I'm like, "Angie, you really should read this book." And then apparently I quoted something else out of it. And I said, "Okay, that's it. I'm dusting it off. I'm taking it off the bookshelf, and I'm actually going to read it." I thought that was a wonderful, wonderful book. And I did not realize that, I had already had some of that ingrained into me.
Yep.
So, yeah, that was a great book.
Never Split the Difference. Yellow and red, I can see
Yes.
it. In fact, I have a new book club in my neighborhood, and it's all kind of the entrepreneurs of my neighborhood, and that's on our list this year. I have read it, but it's one of those always worth reading again.
Yes.
All right, wonderful. Well, the first A in Badass is for advice. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
The best piece of advice that I've ever received. There has been, I have received a lot of worthy advice over the years. But I think the one that stands out the most, Jen, is you can do anything that you set your mind to do. You just have to make your mind up to do it. My father instilled a lot of these little quotes in me since I was old enough to walk. And granted, what 1, 2, 3-year-old, could understand any of this. But what he did, Jen, is he continued these little sayings all throughout, my livelihood. And so he always said, you can do anything that you want to in this world. You've just got to make your mind up and do it.
And your accident, you're being internally decapitated. How many people typically survive that?
I do not know how many people. What I have read and the research that I have done and the surgeons that I've spoken to, people that are internally decapitated, 98% of those people do not survive. They are, it's just a done deal at the crash. And the people that do survive, they are quadriplegics.
Yep.
So to be part of the 2% that is walking, talking, living
Driving.
life again, driving. Jen, do you know what that felt like? I had my freedom back. I did not have to depend on my father to take me, to get everything, although he still comes to my house 2 to 3 times a day. I don't know what I would do without that man, and I'm not being biased, but he is, I could not ask for a more wonderful man to ever be my father. Jen, I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for that man.
Yes, absolutely. I remember I found him on Facebook when your accident happened, and he was the one who was updating. And was there another family member who was keeping us all in the loop? So
Really?
yes, what an angel that you have on your side there.
Yes, that had to. My dad barely knows how to work Facebook.
Oh, well, someone was talking to you, getting information from your dad and posting. I don't. It's been years, but
Yeah.
But he was the one it was coming from him, the information. So
Okay.
yes, you absolutely do have a great angel right there. All right. The D in badass is for doubt. What's a limiting belief you have had to overcome about yourself?
A limiting belief that I have to overcome. Can I say that there are days, Jen, that I still struggle with this? Is that fair to say?
Of course.
But I could not, in all honesty, Jen, I could never see, imagine, picture myself owning a real estate investment business again. That was just so far out of the loop until March of 2026 when I attended Dealmaker and I was actually on the stage with Jim Ebersol.
I
And
saw that.
there has been a fire inside of me ever since. But this is, Jen, this is why I really encourage people. It doesn't matter if you're in real estate or ice skating. You know, it's so important for us to be around our people because
Yes.
our people are very positive people. They have such a tremendous impact on the way that we think, on the way that we produce, on the way that we handle challenges, on, new ideas. And it's just so important. So I've been, like I said, I've had a fire in me and I don't think that this one is going to die.
Good. And I don't believe it will either because the sky is the limit. All right. The second A in badass is for aspiration. I'm a big goal setter. So what's something you're working towards that really excites you?
That really excites me. Well, if I could get my first deal under my belt, Jen, in over 4 years, to be honest with you, I mean, we used to do deals all the time, as you know, Jen. You're a very savvy real estate investor. You've been around for a very long time. But starting over, just to get that one deal and to sit at that closing table, just once again, I'll never ever take that for granted either.
Yep.
I can assure you of that. But no, my goal is, Jen, is to complete 2 flips before the beginning of January 2027. That might not happen because, we know how contractors are sometimes lined up, they're backed up. There are always things that are gonna happen. But I'm not taking no for an answer, Jen.
I don't think you ever will. I do have one recommendation though. Stay in the lower price points because the higher
Yes.
price points are definitely sitting a lot longer.
They
We
are.
finally got our $1 million new build under contract, thank goodness. But definitely stay in that lower price point. And plus, you're solving issues because affordable housing is so needed. And there's a lot of low hanging fruit out there. I would just shop on Zillow, by the way, because you don't even need to work through wholesalers because there's stuff on Zillow that you can just snatch up. So I know you are going to get this done. And two, I see you doing 3 or 4, girl. I believe it. I do.
Oh, Jen.
Because
I
that
hope
once
you're
that
right.
momentum starts for you, Angie,
Yes.
that's what's gonna you're like, up, I'm back, baby, and it's just going to snowball. So
That's exactly what has happened, Jen, and that's why I might have been a few minutes late for the show today. I had 2 people contacting me today, but Jen, you and I both know it's the momentum. Once you get that
yep.
ball rolling, baby, it is wonderful. It's the momentum that it's just a wonderful, wonderful feeling. And the fact that you get to help people in the
Yes.
process, that is one of the most rewarding things that I can think of in the whole business.
Yes.
So
Absolutely. All right. The first S in badass is for strength. Who or what do you lean on when life gets hard?
my father,
I knew that answer.
my
Yes.
father, he is the best sounding board. He has been my coach. He has been my mentor. He is my best friend. But even on the worst days and nights, it doesn't matter. I can call that man and he always answers. But he always has the most positive outlook and positive attitude about everything, no matter what it is, Jen. And he is the whole reason. If I did not have that positivity in my life, Jen, I don't think that I would be where I am today.
Absolutely. Well, I could talk to you all day on this, but the final S in badass is for success. So at this stage in your life, what does success look like to you?
Success. To me, success, the definition of success has changed since my accident. It is not how many businesses we own. It is not how many homes we sell. It is not about the money that we bring in. To me, going through the journey that I've been through, it is about quality of life. You learn to appreciate so much more, Jen. You learn to appreciate every moment, because you know what? Everything can change in a split second, in a blink of an eye. And the only reason I can say that is because it happened to me. So I think embracing every moment, looking for the good in everything, and not, life is not about money. Money is a tool. And I think that, the more people that could understand that, the true I shouldn't say that. That is my meaning. That is my definition of money. It's a tool to help others and to help whom we choose when we choose.
Yes. Well, I cannot wait to see what lies ahead for Angie Breaux, because I know you are going to do amazing things, and I'm honored, Angie, to call you friend. So thank you so much for sharing your story on the Comfort to Courage podcast. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jen. I really appreciate the opportunity, and it's always great to see the infamous Jen Josie.
Well, I just love you, and I hope our paths cross soon. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Jen.
Absolutely. And that is all. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode. And if you take just one thing away from this podcast, remember this: you are one courageous decision away from uncovering the badass you have always been. Courage is contagious, so go pass it on.
Thanks for listening to Comfort to Courage with the real Jen Josie. If today's conversation challenged you, inspired you, or gave you the courage to take that next bold step, subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who's ready to trade comfort for courage. Until next time, keep choosing courage, keep chasing growth, keep pushing past your limits, because courage is contagious. Now, go be the badass you were meant to be.